Welcome to Looking for the Ocean, where we talk about everything Pixar has ever made and what it means to us. I'm Danny Vincent, and as always, I'm joined by Mark Young. And today we're doing an episode that we do every once in a while, where we talk about the multiple short films that came out with the home video release of a Pixar movie. Today, it's of course Inside Out. But yeah, we're talking about two short films. One of them, which I think kind of isn't a short film, but we'll talk about it. The first, though, is a short film. It's called Riley's First Date. Riley's First Date. And the other one is called Mind Candy. So this is just basically an extension on our Inside Out episode. So should I just start with my two leftover things I meant to mention in the Inside Out episode?
Yeah, sure.
One thing I wanted to mention is something that maybe Don would have found interesting, but I think it's more interesting to us because we read Ed Catmull's book, right? Where they have the session about the thing we talked about on the podcast is when they talk about a brain trust meeting about Inside Out. And Brad Bird has a meltdown. It's like, fuck you, how dare you say we have to grow up? You're terrible. And I left Inside Out on at the end of the movie to play for the credits because I like the score of Inside Out, which we discussed last week. And the film is dedicated to, I believe the dedication is to our children, please don't grow up ever. I thought that was really interesting. I thought that was worth a mention in our Inside Out episode, and I never got around to talking about it, where I was like, that's an interesting way to dedicate this to your children. Because it's kind of like, hey, this film was about growing up. Please don't do that. And it reminded me of the Brad Bird anecdote.
The Brad Bird what Brad Bird anecdote?
I just said it, Mark.
Where he's like, what? Oh, okay.
Well, I just said it. I literally just...
Okay.
Sorry. Yes.
Well, here we are.
I have another one too, Mark.
Okay.
Do you want my other one?
Yes.
So this is something that was going to come up probably with every movie from now on, is that we've reached the point where I start working in childcare. Ergo, all these movies become associated with my job in one way or the other, with the exception of the COVID releases that were on Disney+. What I was going to say with this is, I remember the first summer I worked with children, we did not have a movie field trip on the schedule. But unfortunately, what we did have was a day where we were, it was supposed to rain really bad, and we went to a park, and we all wore heavy jackets, and we were told by our boss that if we were rained out, we would take the buses and go see Inside Out. So immediately, all the workers got excited because, on one hand, it's carting these kids around a park when it's going to be raining the whole time. And then on the other, it's watching a movie for 2 hours and relaxing, right? So obviously, we all want to go see Inside Out, even the people who are, not into Pixar movies. It's just give us a break. Inside Out would make it so much easier today. Unfortunately, not only did the rain clear up, but it became 90 degrees that day, and all of us had brought heavy rain jackets. And it's well, we're not going to cancel it now that we have great weather, which makes sense financially, but to the morale of everyone there, including the children, because one of the counselors had linked to the children that it's possible we were going to go to a movie. Every kid would rather go see a movie. So it's I just remember that being a thing that we were all very disappointed by, not seeing Inside Out. All right, those are my two things I forgot to mention in the Inside Out episode.
You know what I've never known? Why did you get into childcare? Did you start that when we were in school?
Yes.
What's that about?
What do you mean, what's it about?
I don't know. Did you, it seems like a thing that you kind of did on the side for money, and now it's a big source of income for you.
Funny jokes, Mark. Mark's a very funny guy. Big source of income. That's funny.
Well, I don't know. I don't know your life.
Funny.
You've got four walls, and you
I
live
have
with a dog.
4 walls that I don't pay for.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I don't know. I assume other people at your job have your job, and they're not dead either. I don't know how these things work, but why did you start doing tutoring and stuff?
Tutoring? I hate tutoring. I did tutoring for 2 years and quit it.
Okay. So this is 2019. We are in Carbondale, but like, what? I don't answer my question.
Are we talking about 2019 or 2015 when I'm waiting to see Inside Out in the theater with children?
Whenever it started, I forget what year you said. But I actually don't care about any of that. But I want to know like what got you into childcare.
Summer job. That's very obviously just a summer job. Gives you really good hours. A lot of fun because it's just like you chill out with kids and you go on field trips with them. And then it just kind of stuck because it's something like, well, you have the experience, so you might as well just keep applying to jobs like this. And I do like children.
Okay.
So they're fun.
But it's not like something that like it's basically it would be like working at Starbucks.
Well, yeah. Initially, the plan initially was when I graduated college was I worked in Starbucks for a month. And if I had stayed at Starbucks, the plan was to be there for 3 months and transfer up to Chicago at the Kroger's and Mariano's up here. But then I quit Starbucks Mariano's because it was stupid. Basically, I always say I quit / got fired, but regardless, it's not on my resume because it was a month-long stint. Because they said I couldn't make the cups quick enough, but they never gave me any time to practice making the cups. Ergo, I feel like I was set up to fail. And then when I was kicked, so I feel like I was fired from Starbucks. And then in Kroger, they put me on bagging. I was like, I mentally cannot do this. I can barely pack my own bags when I go to the groceries. This is stupid. And then I go up to quit. And so I quit Kroger, but I got fired from Starbucks mentally. But then I kept applying to jobs around Chicago, and this very quickly hired me. So it's like, okay, cool. I'm qualified to do this. So
it's always been a summer job, not like something you've done all year.
Mark, I think you're like very high on medication because it's like, what? You know, is this for the listeners or for you? You know, I work with kids year round.
No, it's for me. But you said it was just a summer job.
That's what it started as, yeah. But then that was in Indiana. Now I work here.
Yeah.
It was designed to be a job. It was designed to be a job where it's like, well, you work in the morning, you work in the afternoon, so you have to be up midday. Unfortunately, that basically meant more that you work in the morning, you work in the afternoon, so you're exhausted because you have 2 separate shifts that require you to basically work your butt off instead of just having one straight shift that you can just nap after and then be awake to do stuff. But that was the initial plan. Also, big note that people always forget when we talk about our generation is that, you know, I might have started that job in August 2018. It was going to be a 2-year stint, but unfortunately, August 2020 was disrupted by a little something called COVID-19, which caused basically everyone our age to get their plans messed up. Even if we're like, well, you know, I don't know when I'm going to leave. But, yeah.
Do you have any, like, tales from, you know, starting, you know, doing daycare and stuff and being like, oh my gosh, I feel so unprepared or whatever?
I do, but none that I will ever say on my quote, I'm still employed. Wink. If I'm ever out of the childcare sector, you can ask me that question. I will gladly answer it.
Okay.
But while I'm still in the childcare sector, I would like not to have it on the record.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, you seem very professional about it. I feel like I think it's different because you are dealing with children. I am less worried about shitting on people that I work for. Not in theater, but in like temp things. So
I feel like whenever I shit on people I work with, you get mad at me for like, you shouldn't put that on Mike Danny anyway.
Well, yeah, but like, I don't know. You also like only work in one place, so whatever. I was just wondering if it was like, you know, a part of your life that you discovered through this part-time job, but it sounds like
I think I've discovered that. I think I've discovered at the job is more that before I started working there, I just kind of was very much like, I want to become a writer. I want to do this. And now I feel like eventually becoming a dad is very important to me. I think that's definitely something that's developed from working with children. But it's more just like...
And do you have the feeling of like,
it's like, these
I will do it
terrible.
my way? Or do you just have this kind of urge?
What? You just cut out for a second. I was talking during it, and then you just said urge, and that's all.
Yeah. Do you like feel like you're the dad that would be like, I want to do it this way, or do you just like feel an urge to be a dad?
I think it's a bit of both. I think it's more of the latter. I think I have a strong paternal instinct I had no idea I had until I worked with kids.
Okay.
So.
Good.
But anyway, I don't think I'll be like Riley's dad in Riley's first date, I hope.
Yeah.
There we go. There's a transition.
What if we didn't transition? Let's talk about the Golden Globes.
Why? I came on this to do a quick episode about these shorts, and you're like, oh, can we talk about your history in childcare? Can we talk about the Golden Globes? What in the Golden Globes is remotely related to Pixar?
I don't know, but we have...
Ludwig Göransson scored Turning Red. That's literally the only answer I have for you.
Sometimes, well, I don't know. I just feel like we have to come on and talk about Pixar, but we should also, like, improve the lives of our listeners, you know? It's not like art needs to have some great moral purpose, but we just can't come on here and, like... talk about a shitty short and then be like, yeah, there you go, friends. Enjoy your crap. I don't know. I like learning about your life and your background. Anyway, Riley's first date.
My whole point, though, of telling the Inside Out story was like, oh, but don't worry, there's going to be plenty more of these stories to come. And you're like, tell them all now. And I'm like, what?
Well, I think it'd be weird to have like a 10-minute short, so... I mean, we could get up to 30 minutes with your stories, but not ever. Anyway,
what is there remotely
Riley's
to talk about
date.
the Golden Globes? You winning a Golden Globe? That is something to talk about. Congratulations on the Golden Globe.
Thank you. I really thought that you were going to come in and talk about. I don't think you won a Golden Globe. You won an Emmy, right? Like they happened at the same time. Oh, weird. I have no idea.
I literally sent you an image of you winning a Golden Globe. You need to
well,
put
I didn't know what he was holding. I thought because the Emmys were happening at the same time, then that's what would happen.
I sent an image for the listeners to be clear, because this is a running bit that I think everyone is aware of, because they've all seen it. If you've seen a picture of Mark and Matthew McFadden are lookalikes, and I sent an image yesterday to Mark. Granted, he was in the ER when I sent it, of Matthew McFadden with his Golden Globe, and I sent it with the caption, "Congrats on the Golden Globe." So Mark's like, I didn't know that was a Golden Globe in his hand. Even though I literally said, congrats on the Golden Globe.
Well, I was in the ER last night.
Yes.
So I'm not, like, totally with it today.
All right. Since Mark wants to talk about the Golden Globes, we'll quickly go through all the winners. Ricky Gervais
No, that
in
sounds
stand-up.
like the worst. Man, they can read a Wikipedia article. All right, let's talk about the Pixar short.
All right, you know what? No. You told me to talk. We're going to talk very quickly. I'm glad Ayo Idibiri won. Great rise to fame. We love Ayo Idibiri on here. Come on the show. Kieran Culkin and Sarah Snook, we love you guys. Great. Good jobs. Kieran Culkin always proves himself not to be an actor whenever... That's actually really bullshit for me to say. He's not an actor. His persona feels so close to Monroe always. It's very concerning in a sense. But not really, because he's a good actor. The Boy and the Heron won animated film. Great, we love it. I'm so glad the highest grossing film of the year won Best Box Office. What a cool award for it to win.
Well, all right.
Cillian
Riley's
Murphy v. Bradley Cooper. All right. There, we did everything.
Riley's first date. It's about...
Riley's first date?
Date? It's about how people are, like, awful. And, like, I don't know, it's so bizarre to me that you can read about the short and they're like, this is a thing that happened to me. Like, it's a real experience. And I'm like, wow.
Wait.
I'm so glad we get to, like,
I hate
explore the
to
texture of the reality where people suck.
First off, I hate to go back to the Golden Globes, but this is how Mark gets his comeuppance, is by, like, I want to talk about the Golden Globes, and now I won't shut up about them after I initially yelled at him for bringing them up. But can I just point out that the Wikipedia article... Let me just read this paragraph from the Wikipedia article. Barbie and Succession tied for most nominations was 9, Oppenheimer was 8. Thus, furthermore, the cultural phenomenon of Barbenheimer received 17 total nominations, winning a total of 7. I'm just like, what is irrelevant that Barbenheimer combined won this stuff? Why is this listed as a stat? And why does it have 5 citations?
Indeed.
All right, Riley's first date.
Riley's first date. Date? Because it has a question mark. All right, some fucking kid shows up at their apartment.
The kid from the credits.
The kid from the credits shows up at their apartment, and her dad is like, "Oh my god, I hate this guy." Not for any reason. I don't know if he feels like, I don't know, Riley's in danger or whatever. Like, the kid's kind of a dick, like many Pixar teenagers are.
Which doesn't make much sense, because when we see him in the film, he's obsessed with Riley immediately, and this he's like, "Hey, what's up? Mm-hmm. Girls, they aren't real."
And then the joke of the mom is that to relate to Riley, she starts using all this slang, and Riley's like, "Oh my god, what is my mom doing? She's being so embarrassing." And then the dad and the kid, the boyfriend, not the boyfriend, but the guy who's going on the date or whatever, like, they bond over both
AC/DC.
liking AC/DC, and they're both musicians. So they play some air guitar at the end, and then it's like, oh man, we're cool again. And
this short is terrible. Let's be very clear here. And I think the reason this short is terrible is because it focuses on the parents' emotions, which have already proven to be very, very, like two-dimensional. They're just stereotypes. I think that is and I understand maybe the appeal of Inside Out is like, these are typical situations that we're just seeing how your emotions react to them. But I just find it very annoying to watch.
Well, it's also like, this is this thing where it's like, why is Pixar so cynical and frankly unimaginative when it comes to like people, Like, it has a lot of patience for, the young child protagonist or whatever, but any adults, or especially teenagers, or I don't know, just like anyone else, like, if you're not the main character in a Pixar movie, you're probably like a terrible person. Like, you hate your job, you mistrust other people, you are rude, or you're weird. I don't know. It's so crazy. Like, it's kind of a cliche now, but like, why have I not seen more things like, everyone says the parents in Easy A are such great parents.
Never seen that movie.
And no one else. You've never seen it?
No.
Oh,
go on. Make your point anyway.
It's a fun little time. It has some of the same things, but it's kind of like, I don't know. It feels different. Like, animation and live action feel different to me when you have someone who's like being made fun of playing a character, because if you have like a real person playing like a goth girl or whatever, they have like the context of being a human, so they bring in all of that baggage, and I feel like you can't like, it's hard to like fully make fun of them because they're like a human being. But even though, these voice actors are doing a good job, there's still a difference between, like, physically and in your life, the presence you bring to a movie, just when you're doing a voice, because you can, like, do anything. I mean, and just, imagine all of the great alternative comedians we've learned about doing Pixar movies, or watching Pixar movies, where they're like, I'm a fucking bug who likes to eat, and then it's like, you started like the most powerful alternative comedy group in Canada, and of course I'm confusing the characters of, and I'm also just making shit up about different characters in Bug's life, and then I use the example of the one guy who was voiced by an animator, so that doesn't make any sense.
What I think is interesting is, before we recorded, I watched, and Mark Ergo also watched, that trailer for Inside Out. I was like, this trailer was so hype. And you're rewatching it, it really isn't that hype. I think it's just the idea of watching it and being like, Ah, yes, Pixar's been gone for a while. This is their first creative-looking movie since Up, which made that trailer very exciting. But also, the one thing I forgot about it is that like there's a part of it where like they play like is it like a guitar solo or like the riff of More Than a Feeling, and it just goes through the voice cast, and it's like, we've got Phyllis Smith and Lewis Black in this, and it's like, yeah, my two faves.
Yeah, I was impressed by the trailer just because it is like a complicated idea, and the trailer conveys it pretty quickly. And it also, like, you get a very good sense of what the story is, even though not what the film is, because the trailer focuses on how everyone has emotions in them. And I think people remember, if you go back in your mind, you remember that the big, like, ad for this movie was the clip of them at the dinner table, which is mostly not how the movie is. It's all, like, in Riley's head. So we watched that before we came on.
Yeah, I remember thinking that trailer is just like, it's also something where it'd been a while since, maybe it actually is the first time ever they sold the movie on, hey, Pixar, we've been gone for a while, but don't worry, this one has sad parts to it. So get excited, because you remember how we used to make you cry? This one will do that. So I think that's like actually a unique marketing point of Inside Out that like worked really well too, because it's like Brave and Monsters U were and Cars 3, all those were very much in this is gonna be fun, you know? And Inside Out was like, no, we're making a movie about being sad, and look, she's hugging her parents sadly in the trailer, so you know this movie is going to be sad. So it's like, cool, I'm gonna feel emotions in this movie about emotions.
Definitely.
And it kind of comes back to that thing that I always say, made the point several times on the podcast, where Bob Chapek and Iger to a lesser extent, but Chapek really misunderstood the appeal of Pixar in the sense that he thought Turning Red was streaming and Lightyear was for theaters, whereas the entire like brand of Pixar is that they give you original stuff that makes you cry, and that will sell you better than like a Toy Story spin-off movie. Like, and that's also why like I think Elemental had good legs, because even though it didn't make me cry, it made other people cry, but the marketing made it look like it was slapstick. But it was like, no, this is a Pixar movie. Don't like that. That's what the word mouth was like. Oh, it is a Pixar movie, and that's what people I feel like executives forget. That is the selling point of Pixar, is that they're giving you an original story. Even though, a movie like Inside Out 2 is probably going to do well. Like their big movies getting sequels, those will do well, but it's got to be like a sequel. It can't just be like it's a Buzz Lightyear movie, you know. It's got to be like Toy Story 4 or Incredibles 2. And it's got to be a big movie. It's like, I don't think people would rush out to see Ratatouille or WALL-E 2. You know?
Yeah.
So.
Can you remind me, because I watched it like yesterday and a lot of things have happened since then, how do the mom and Riley get back together?
In this?
Yeah, how do they reconcile?
They don't.
Do they?
She just walks out to go hang out with Jordan. And then the mom and the dad are like, let's kiss. And it's like, oh, okay. Yeah,
they're like, let's fuck. That's kind of what I like got from that, because I'm
like, what I got from it too.
Do you not like? I know it's like this is all kids media, but it's just funny that it's like, I don't know, just kiss your wife, man. But the end of the short is with Riley and the teenager guy walking away, and the dad like gives the mom a look, and she's like, "Oh shit, he's given the look. We gotta engage." And then they just kiss. And then at the end of the kiss, well, it's how does it go? Because the credits are like with fireworks and rock music, so
and
it
then
could.
After the credits, she pulls away.
That's right. That's what it was. Because
her emotions are like, all right, that's enough. We're good.
Okay, that's what it was. I was like, oh, it's kind of cool. They like fade to black on having sex. But then they don't at the end, and I'm like, well, what the fuck, man? And it's just...
They go out of the way to have the dad go, I'm gonna go fix the table. It's like, alright, like...
Well, he did break the table. I do think there are some good lines in this, just like the original Inside Out. I do like when his sadness is like, they're all shouting things at mentally in his head at the teenager, and one of them is like, go back to jail. That's a pretty good line.
I like the bit in Riley's head. I don't even remember what she says, but I know Disgust has a moment when the mom starts like saying "OMG for shizzle," and it's like Disgust is just obviously like disturbed greatly by this, and I really like that. But yeah, what was I gonna say? I don't know. I think this short is terrible. It gives me hope for Inside Out 2, though, in a way, because I think this short is really bad. And the director went on to make Toy Story 4, which is, in my opinion, pretty good. I think it's not great, but it's a pretty good movie. And I've been very negative towards Inside Out 2's existence, mainly because, well, first, I think in general it's like, why are you bothering making Inside 2 and not giving it to a woman to direct now that you've fixed your studio to have women directors? That's just something that's very confusing to me. But whatever. But the other thing is, what?
It's shit. I don't know. It's like, what do you mean fixed it to have women directors? Do you mean fixed it like in the way that they just
but it's like that was a big thing with
crap?
Inside Out 1 was like, why is like an old white man directing this? I remember that even that was discourse in like 2015, and now it's 2024, and it's like we're making Inside Out 2. It's directed by this white man this time, and it's like. Not that I actually don't think the race really matters with Riley. It's just like this is about a girl's mind. Why are we having a man be in charge of this? It doesn't make much sense.
Doesn't matter when she's white.
Yeah, I mean, we already covered that she's very upper class white. So yeah, so,
yeah, it's so great.
We're pretty in depth on that last time.
If we don't get investors on this project, we're gonna have to let people go. And I
didn't notice what his shirt said the first time. But like,
I'm glad that Don pointed out it was Brang or something. Because
this time it was like Brang, we bring you stuff. So it's like, okay, so it's like a Grubhub type of thing.
That's so crazy. It's like they're making one of those dumb fucking apps.
They're like making DoorDash. Like, that's literally what it is. His dad, Riley's dad owns DoorDash.
Well, I mean, there might be clues that I'm like missing. I like to imagine he's making one of those things that's like.
Wouldn't it be really funny if Brang was like a DoorDash for like moving, and thus the entire plotline in the movie, the subplot where it's like the moving man keeps getting delayed. That was just all tied into his his thing where it's like the moving man doesn't show up, I'm gonna look terrible. Pete Docter, you should rewrite Inside Out to have this be a massive subplot in the film.
Do you? I don't know, because you don't take a train everywhere. Do you see those ads for like every new dating app?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. I just think it's funny because it seems like there's some kind of ecosystem where you can thrive if you just make a new fucking kind of dating app. And I don't know, all these things are probably pretty successful, but like there's this. I'm just saying things that I've seen ads for. There's one called like Muzz, which is where Muslim people can like meet each other and date. And then there was like a time when that one dating app that I knew about was like, we are the dating app for polyamorous people.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
And then Tinder had really interesting ads where it was like I don't know, it was like David LaChapelle pictures, and that's like my ignorance being like, oh, it can't, if everyone's like shiny and there's jewelry, that's David LaChapelle, and it's obviously like not how style works. And you know, I also like I think there are things that are silly too, like it's not just the Muslim dating app, but it's like there's Christian Mingle, of course, that everyone knows. And we all know about like Farmers Only. It just seems that like if you have some money, you can just make a new dating app and like advertise the shit out of it. And these things just like, I don't know, they just crop up everywhere. We could make an app.
You could. I pitched one once, remember? It was like a gaming app.
For where gamers meet.
Oh, not like a dating app. Sorry, I was saying we made.
No, it has to be a dating app.
Did I ever make my points that I was trying to make? I realize that now. Like, did I ever say what I wanted to say? Where it was like, it gives me more hope for Inside Out 2 because this short is way worse than Party Central, which is what the director of Inside Out 2 is doing. I don't think I ever got to that. Because Party Central
No.
is better than this short.
Yeah, well, I don't know. You know, it's hard to say this because here's my not a pushback, but I'm just like I don't know. It's hard to say that something is better. I mean, this short is like technically fine. It's just
Technically,
like,
it literally is just using, like, they probably made it at the same time they made Inside Out. Of course it's going to be technically good. They're just using the assets they have from the movie they just finished.
well, yeah, but I just want to be clear. But it's like we're calling it bad because we disagree with its lack of its position towards its characters. Like
I just think it's
sometimes
boring.
you watch one of these Pixar movies and it's like, have these guys like ever gone outside? You know?
Yeah. It's just, I don't know, it's just annoying. I actually think the other short is much better in a way. Let me rephrase. The second half of the other short is better. Because the first half of Mind Candy, let's be clear about Mind Candy. I'm pretty sure this isn't a short film. I think they released this as a short film after it came out. I think it's promo material that they played on social media. And since this was like in 2015 where they're first understanding how social media marketing works, they're like, what do we do with all this material we made? Put it out as a short and it's all done. But I think it's pretty clear this is all like promotional stuff, right?
So you're talking about Mind Candy now?
Yes. 'Cause I don't think there's really, I'll be real, I don't think there's much to Riley's first date.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think there's more to Mind Candy.
I don't know. I don't think there's more to Mind Candy. I think that Mind Candy is just like transitions and, if you leave a DVD menu playing long enough, then something will happen. And I think that's what Mind Candy is just a collection of those little clips that they made with all the different characters. And I think that's interesting because you can like if you're an animator, you have this character like out of the context of a world and you just get to watch them inhabit space and kind of create space. I think that was what was interesting about Mind Candy for me, is that because of where they place characters, the negative space tells a story about what, you might put a blurb up there or a DVD menu. And I think that's interesting, looking at how you might decorate the space around a menu like
Which
that.
Mind
so it's kind
Candy
of like
video did
technically
you watch?
interesting. The one that you...
I didn't send you any.
Oh, you didn't send me any. Let me see if I can find it. Maybe I'm talking about different things.
I'm worried that you didn't watch the whole thing.
Inside Out Mind Candy short film.
How long is it?
14 minutes?
Okay, good.
Yeah. Well, now I'm a little worried that I didn't watch the whole thing because I don't remember it fucking being 14 minutes long.
Well, the back half is really good. The back half is just like these things where it's like, meet fear, meet joy, meet sadness. And it's clear that these were like promo material when like the movie was coming out, but it's all these little scenes where it's like, there's the 5-second rule, and Riley drops a grape on the ground, and Joy wants to eat it, but Gus is obviously like, no, don't do that. And it's just very nice, clever stuff. Did you watch these?
No. Now I'm looking at it.
We will be back in about 5 minutes while Mark watches these, because they're the main thing I want to discuss, and the only reason this thing was put on our list as
All
a
right,
thing.
I'm gonna mute my mic so I can play this on the computer. All right. All right. Yeah, I actually enjoyed those.
Yes, they're the best part, and you wanted to skip them and just talk about DVDs.
Well, I don't know what happened. I don't know why I really have no memory of like why I didn't watch the end of this giant short. But I was wondering why you were coming on late today, and you were like 25 minutes later than I thought you would be, and I knew you were coming on a little bit late. But then you were like, "Oh, there are trailers that I have to account for," and I'm like, "What do you mean trailers? These shorts are like a total of 5 minutes, but now I see the whole thing is like 20 minutes long." Yeah, I really enjoyed them. So Mind Candy has like what I said in the beginning, and then it also has little short films featuring each of the emotions reacting to something in the world.
and if I may point out something that I think is amusing, because Mark has watched this in the wrong order that I wanted him to, I think part of the reason I wanted to watch the trailer for Inside Out before is because I thought I'd remembered and I was right. There's a shot that's only in the Mind Candy that's used in the trailer, and it's of Riley, like, playing the drums, and I realized that Mark probably had didn't clock it because he hadn't seen the short film yet. So...
Mm-hmm. Well, I did actually clock it because I didn't remember that happening in the movie, but I just thought it was one of those things where they were like, oh, well, you know, we make things and put them in the trailer, but they might not be in the final product. But yeah, I really enjoyed those. I don't know. I'd have to, like, get into the humor of each one. But I really... I don't know. Maybe this isn't a good way of going about this, but I really enjoyed what was it? It's like the sadness alternate ending or something.
Oh, it was the joy alternate ending.
The joy alternate ending where they're in Spanish class. I was like, you know what? I don't know if that joke can happen in a lot of other contexts. So I was pleased that they pulled that off.
Yeah, but I honestly think the other one is more funny, where it's just Joy annoying them all with asking questions.
Well, and I don't know. I think you're more amused by, like, people being intentionally annoying than I am. I feel like
personal attack.
No, no. That's just a general. That's just a genuine thing that I think you have more patience for than I do. I prefer when people are like. I feel like you need a bit of, like, naiveness, or you don't really need a bit of naiveness. You can be pretty mean with some people, but I just personally respond better to that kind of thing. I definitely have to learn when I go out, like, on doing shows and I have to read someone else's script and I'm like, man, these are such mean jokes, and then they get, like, huge laughs from some audience, and I'm like, well, whatever, I don't understand this, I'm just going to say my lines. I'm like Robert De Niro in that way. I'm referencing a clip of him talking about his character in Killers of the Flower Moon, which I doubt, like, anyone else has seen. But anyway, what a nice multicolored robe you have,
Mark. I feel like
I'm trying to paint a picture for the listeners here.
It's not, I don't know, a robe. It's the blanket I wear, like, literally half the time we record.
Well, but it looks like a robe because you've got a little, like, an orange collar. Maybe that's just the side of the blanket that I've never seen before. Blanket.
Yeah. I don't know.
But anyway, do you have a favorite short?
What I thought was more interesting, although at this point I've kind of forgotten the specifics of it, is how I think these 5 actually tackle more that gray area that a lot of these motions fall into. Because it's like, Joy is the one who's coming up with the answer for class, and it's like, shouldn't this be more like Fear's job? Because Fear's afraid of, like, getting it wrong, you know?
Yeah. Well,
or like, I think the one in specifically I come up with is, what was it? So just Disgust has the 5-second rule one. Joy has that one. Sadness has the one where it's like she gets hurt during hockey. Yeah, I just think it's interesting because it's like something where it's like, I think these all exist more in the gray area more than I think they want them to. Not all of them, but a decent amount of them. Because it's like, I do think Disgust and Fear are incredibly related emotions, very specifically. This 5-second rule one being all about disgust versus joy, I think is interesting, because I think it'd be more interesting to make it be about fear versus disgust in a way, because it's, no matter what, Riley shouldn't eat that, and Joy winning feels weird, but I feel like it'd be more interesting if it was like, I don't know, I think it'd be really interesting to delve into the, like, differences more here, and my main thought also with them is, beyond that, is I think this is really where the characters belong. Not even like in a TV show, but like in like 30 seconds to 2 minute long short films where it's just, this is a situation. These are how emotions deal with it. I think that's a more interesting thing to do. And I think also, we were discussing in the Inside Out episode about how Riley seems like she has no agency. And I counterpoint that, like, no, here's the rules of the world. Her ideas come from the train of thought, blah, 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 blah. But in these short films, it is just the emotions govern her. Because it's like she's holding the grape. Oh, it's going in. No, it's not. Oh, it's going in. No, it's not. Oh, no. It's just like, all right, this is a little bizarre.
Yeah, it's like, it's like how Osmosis Jones can be a TV show, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think there's a lot of rumors that Inside Out 2 is going to lead into a Disney Plus show. We will see if
well,
it
but
does
I
or
would
not.
want it to be something like this. I don't know if I want like full adventures with them. Although there was a whole show, like a 4-season long show about people in some guy's brain that I read
Herman's
about.
Head.
Yeah.
Because that was what people, when this movie came out, they're like, oh, so it's like Herman's Head.
Yeah.
I think about the classic Eddie Murphy film Meet Dave that I've never seen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So...
Remember that image? Do you remember like the giant model of Eddie Murphy's head that they like carted around everywhere?
is that what that's for?
Yeah,
the Meet Dave promo?
Oh, okay. The plot of Meet Dave was that, I believe... I don't know if I can't remember if it's actually just like Inside Out where it's like a metaphor, but I think it might be that Dave is like an alien spaceship that's governed by these...
I think that's what it was.
Yeah. But now I'm curious how Meet Dave ends, because I've never seen it, and I have no desire to ever see Meet Dave.
Mm-hmm. Well...
Oh, shit! Meet Dave is directed by the current president of Paramount Pictures.
Oh.
Remember how he directed Good Burger and Norbit?
Oh, yeah.
His career is crazy. He directed The Shaggy Dog. Brian Robbins, current CEO of Paramount, is directly responsible for Robert Downey Jr. being an Oppenheimer.
Okay.
Robert Downey Jr. has been on the record saying he thinks The Shaggy Dog saved his career. Because it proved that Disney could insure him. And if Disney can insure him, anyone could.
That's good.
He said that in an interview. You know?
Yeah. Well, and I think that, like, obviously this doesn't have anything to do with real psychology, and maybe I lack the words for this, but it seems like in the shorts or in the world of Inside Out, that joy is always the one that is, like, going towards things, and fear is always the one pulling back, and the different emotions are on different ends of that spectrum, you know? Are in different parts of that spectrum. Like, joy actually is someone who seems to influence a lot of positive actions, and fear is more like negative. Like, let's stop watching the scary movie. Let's, like, not do this other thing.
Well, I just think, because I come back to how, the movie directly addresses them, right? It's like, fear keeps Riley safe. Disgust makes it so we don't poison ourselves. Which, again, those are both kind of the same thing, I feel like. And then anger keeps things fair. Like, those are like how it said, the movie makes it clear. Which is funny, because I also then think the sadness one here is very much still, because it's like meet sadness. It's not like a post-movie sadness. This is a pre-movie sadness where everyone's annoyed by her. And I think it does do a good job setting up not the conflict of it, but like how everyone doesn't understand sadness. Not just Joy, even though Joy's the one mainly annoyed by it because Joy's in charge of everything. But no one understands what the point of sadness is. Which is fine, because again, this is a property for children, and the whole thing being about this is how children start to understand the importance of being sad, rather than just hating being sad, is a good idea.
Yeah. Well, do you want to call it?
Yeah.
All right.
Being very cheap here, looking for the ocean, we give movies things, we don't give them ratings. I'm gonna put, here's the thing, I'm not gonna give this like a sequel or anything, because we're getting a sequel and stuff like that, but I am gonna put the Meet shorts on Disney Plus. Like, just as like how Forky asked a question in the series, you could put all these on as like a compilation of shorts of like Meet the Emotions, Inside Out. Mm-hmm. I think those would belong in Disney Plus, because I think these all 5 of them have merit to them. I almost made a joke. I also maybe if you don't want me to give that, I'll give it a copy of Clue, so we can understand the joy of being able to watch alternate endings in rapid succession rather than rewatching an entire short film over again just to get to the alternate ending.
Yeah, I've been swayed because I liked the ending of Mind Candy, so I want to give it something that it would enjoy, and I think I want to give
the Meet Dave.
what is Meet Dave? Oh, Meet Dave is the Eddie Murphy movie.
Eddie Murphy skipped the Meet Dave premiere, claiming it was because he was working on the subsequently delayed comedy 1,000 Words, even though Brian Robbins, who had directed both films, still managed to show up to the premiere.
Well, he's Eddie Murphy, not
Eddie Murphy
Brian
can do whatever
Robbins.
He wants. Yeah. Is he president of Paramount? Eddie Murphy president of Paramount.
Eddie Murphy doesn't need to be president of Paramount.
Can you imagine if he was? How much better Paramount would be?
I don't know. I think you kind of need someone who's like good at running a business, but maybe not the best at making films.
I love how
do that.
I love how the poster for Meet Dave says Eddie Murphy in Eddie Murphy in Meet Dave.
It's a great bit.
It's like I saw the Book of Clarence the other day, and it has opening credits. And I wanted to stand up and cheer when the opening credits began. It said Lakeith Stanfield in. Because I was like, ooh, he's in this movie. He's the star. Lakeith Stanfield in the Book of Clarence. Yeah. Anyway.
I want to give Riley's parents a better house. Because even
these rich people need a better house in San Francisco.
Well, I don't know why they have such a fucking ugly house, man. Like, they're moved in when the boyfriend shows up, right? They just... Why is their house so fucking ugly? Not the outside, because the outside is like, I don't know. It's I don't know. It's just kind of funny because like even when things get better and they could design the world in a way that reflected Riley's view of it, the inside of the house is still like puke green, and they haven't put up any art or like done anything to counteract the puke greenness of the whole thing.
Well, Riley at least has decorated her room a bit.
Yeah. I guess, I don't know, if their dad's like out there inventing Soylent or something, he might just prefer to live in a cube. Anyway.
Do you know... Sorry, I gotta stop looking at the Meet Dave page. I'm just in shock. The cast of Meet Dave is Eddie Murphy, Elizabeth Banks, Gabrielle Union, Scott Conn, Ed Helms, and Kevin Hart.
Mm-hmm. Great. All right, what are we doing next time?
We're going to talk about a couple more shorts. These are a little more exciting. One of them is called Sanjay Super Team. It is the short film that played in front of the Good Dino. And then a short film that I remember going viral, even though I never watched it. I should look up who directed it, but the whole thing it was sold on was like, this was made by... sorry. This wasn't made... I don't know why I just like shut down for a second. Dave, up there, fix. It was like really... It was like an independent short film that was really going around the internet being like, this is made by some Pixar animators, and it's called Borrowed Time. I've never watched it. But yeah, it's apparently very good. It stars Nick Patera. Do you remember Nick Patera? If not, I'm sure I'm going to talk about him a lot next week.
No, who's that?
I'm sure I'm going to talk about him next week. I'm keeping myself from talking about him. I will say this. He has a Wikipedia page not for being an animator, even though he does still work at Pixar, I believe. Oh my god, he sang the Triple Dent Gun song, too.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Okay. Anyway, Looking for the Ocean is produced by Mark Young and Danny Vincent.
The show is edited by Julius Jefferson.
This, our original artwork was done by Sarah Knopf.
You can follow us on social media at Looking for the Ocean, Instagram at Looking for the Ocean Pod, and Twitter at Pixar Journey. And on our website, lookingfortheoceanpixar.podbean.com.
Once again, if you're listening to this Friday morning, this is the final weekend to come see Mr. Marmalade. I hope I'm alive for it, because part of my ER thing is like I'm around these fucking cats all the time. So if anything else sets off my allergies, it's like hell. But I think it'll happen, and it's a great show. So you're listening to this Friday morning, you're in New York, we've got 3 more shows for you to come see. Tonight, tomorrow, and the day after. In Brooklyn, cheap tickets, come get them. Yeah. Tickets Brooklyn. On Instagram.
Brooklyn! You can follow me, Danny, at Blame It's on Letterboxd. I don't know if I'm doing anything special right now on Letterboxd, but hey, check it out. I'm pretty sure the Oscar noms are either out now or out on Tuesday, so soon I'll be trying to make it through the nominees. Although I think this year I'm not going to try as hard on the shorts and the docs. Sorry, documentaries. It's just, unless you're on Netflix, I'm really not going to bother to seek you out. You know what I mean? Just kind of
Maestro for Snub Club.
Is that your guess? Is Maestro? A lot of people are guessing. I don't know if we'll get the noms. That's the thing. Is it will have, as my mind, it might only have 3 noms, which is Cooper, Mulligan, and the makeup. Maybe 4, actually. I think it will have 4 with cinematography as well. So I'm like, I don't know if it will be it. I think it's still a good, decent chance it'll be Killers of the Flower Moon, because I don't think Lily Gladstone has that win locked yet. So
that'll be a rough night.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Did I ever say my Snub Club podcast? Listen. Oscar noms wins. All that.
Yeah.
Still on hiatus as far as I know. So.
Anyway. Good morning. I guess that's, or good evening. I don't know what you're listening to.
Bye!